Hello there, Ron LeGrand here. If you're watching this video, it means you have already registered for the Great American Real Estate Summit in Vegas starting March 31st, or you're going to because I talked you into it, or you were going to do it anyway. I have beside me here, this is Pam Patton. She actually runs the VA department, and as you can see, she's eating way too much. And this is Jasmine, who is actually going to be at the summit because for some reason Pam decided to have a baby right about the time the summit was going on. Her planning really sucks in that regard.
It was terrible.
All right, so Jasmine's going to be there to take over, and I'm going to explain to you on this video how to bring leads, what a lead is, and how we're going to process them before and during the event so you clearly understand it. And then you will see these rules are published probably right down below if we're on the ball here. So you'll see them in writing so you can understand them. Honestly, I had to have these two girls in here so that I don't misinterpret them and say something stupid. So they're going to be correcting me, right?
Sure.
Yeah, which they love to do, but with my permission. So let me start by going over here and looking at the PI sheets. You ladies can have a seat if you want, and I will be back. Okay, somebody's going to have to scroll this for me though. I call this a property information sheet. If you're already on Planet Ron, if you had any training from me, you know what this is. And you'll also find it included in this video as well, so that you'll have them, and you'll find them on the Gold Club site as well. And I think you'll find them still at ronlegrand.com/FISBO, right?
Right.
All right, so they're easy to get. Now, this is the sheet that has to be filled out before we can call them or as you're calling them. Now, our virtual assistants, we have a whole floor of them, which Pam is in charge of, and they do this every single day. They call about 25 or 30,000 of these a month for our clients, and I'll tell you how you can get one if you don't have one already. Then they send this to our client, or they mount it on our CRM site called Dreams, and then the client makes the call to the customer, which we call a closing call, using our simple scripts. So if you'll back up to the top here, I want to go over this, but before I do, I want to show you how important this is, because I happen to have the numbers here from my last 3 summits, and here they are. I'm just combining all 3 of them. All told, during these 3 summits, you guys brought in 432 of these completed property information sheets. And by the way, if it's not completed, we don't call it a lead. A lead is not a seller's phone number. We don't work with that. We have to get this completed first before you call them, or if our mentors are going to call them for you at the summit, which I'll explain in a minute. So we processed 432 of these completed sheets. Out of that, we got 122 deals for our students by making that closing call for you while you were at the event. You bring in the sheets, and we call them, we make a deal on the phone or not, and then we'll discuss that in class in what we call deal structuring classes that I personally handle. So let's start with the numbers here again. 432 leads, 122 deals, and that resulted in, the best we can tell, we're just based on what the property was worth and the deal that was structured, because Pam here kept track of that the whole time. We created about $9.3 million worth of potential profits. Some of that would be collected in upfront non-refundable deposits. Some of that would be collected monthly. Some of that would be collected on the back end. And frankly, that's an extremely conservative number, because we had no way to figure out how long the deal would last. So no way to figure out the middle cash flow or what the appreciation would be and so forth. So that's a pretty good number regardless. So if you want to get your piece of that at our upcoming event in Vegas, I'm about to show you how right now. So let's start by filling this thing out. This is very important because we'll call them for you, and they have to be filled out. Now somebody's got to fill this out. So you can let our VAs do it for you if you're a client, or guess who gets to do it if our VAs aren't doing it? Somebody you know and love. Yes, that would be you. Now, I'm not asking you to do any negotiating. I just want you to pick up the phone and call the seller and say, I'm calling about the house you have for sale on blah, blah, blah street. And then you simply start asking them the questions. You'll notice over here, this is all your stuff here. I think you can figure out what area of town it's in, and I want your name. You got to have your name up here now, so don't forget that. And the city, of course. And we want the source. Make sure you tell us where you got the lead from. And I'll give you a few ways to do that in a minute. Now, this is the seller side. Of course, you want their name. I want their phone number. And the asking price is already published. You don't even have to ask them that. It's already published. But you would ask them again. Notice the star here, because if it's got a star, I need the answer to it. I don't have to have every single star, but I got to have something to work with. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you just bring us phone numbers from sellers, we're not going to call them. If you don't bring this sheet, we're not going to call them. If you haven't called the seller and filled this out, we're not going to call them. And if we don't call them, I can promise you, you won't get any deals at the summit. So I want to know what they think the house is worth. Now right here where it says your comps and rent comps, I don't even care if you put that on there. Most people just go to Zillow and get a Zestimate. But the truth is, the Zestimate's never right anyway. So, but I would like, if you have a clue what it's really worth, you can go get it from realestateabc.com. It's right there on your sheet. And there's all the comps on that house right there in line order. Now, if you can't fill that out, don't worry about it. But I would like to have it filled out if you can manage to figure out how to do that. Okay? Now look at this one. This is very important. You simply ask the seller, all right, what do you owe? And usually they'll give you the answer. And then I don't care who the lender is, but I definitely need to know what the payment is. Okay, what do you owe and what's the payment? I assume it includes taxes and insurance, and it's current, right? You just check them off. That's all you have to do. Now, if it is in arrears, I want to know about how much, okay? So, come on, that's not hard, is it? By the way, just for the record, when somebody advertises their house for sale, I would guess they actually expect somebody to call. That would be you. You're not an unwanted pest, you're a welcome guest. They want you to call. So don't feel bad about making the call. They're asking you to do it. And every call, somebody's going to ask them these same questions, give or take. That's all you're doing to get a lead sheet. All right? Now, right here, you will only ask if there's a small gap between the loan balance and the asking price. We put $35,000. Now, of course, if the seller won't give you the loan balance, you don't ask this question. Okay, you move over to B. If you do ask this question, make sure when you sell a house for what you owe, if they say no, then make sure you come down here. Well, if we take over your debt and pay all your closing costs, what's the least you accept for your equity? Okay, by the way, if they say yes to you sell for what you owe, you just bought a house. You just got to the house and you got a free house. Okay, we'll show you that in class if you don't already know. Down here, if they say they give you a number, that tells me whether they're asking close to what they owe. Maybe they want moving money or a little of that. And it tells me if they're flexible enough to where I can probably get them down to what they owe since we're paying the closing costs. But you let us do that. You just give me an answer here if it's applicable. But I'll say it again. Do not ask this question unless there's a small gap between the loan amount and the asking price. Because if you do, you just defeated yourself. For example, the seller wants $400,000 and they only have a $300,000 loan. And you ask them, will they sell for what you owe? What did you just do to this relationship? It's dead to water. You just insulted them. They don't want to talk to you anymore. So be careful. Ask this when it's applicable though, because if you get a yes, telling you, you just got a house, just go out there and get a contract. Now look at B. It says, would you consider letting us make your monthly payment if they have a loan, or making you a monthly payment if they don't? We're asking them a terms question. If they say yes, you just got what we call a yes lead. Now, of course, if they say yes over here, that's a yes lead. All right, so we're looking for as many yes leads as we can, but my friend, make no mistake, we want no leads as well. So just so you'll know, we get as many deals from no leads as we do from yes leads, largely because there's 5 times more no leads than yes leads. Most people are going to say no to this question, so don't be shocked when they do. Bring it to class, let us do our thing by reading simple scripts that we've perfected, and I'll show you how easy it is. And by the way, when this call is made to the seller, you're going to be sitting beside one of our mentors who do this all day and every day and do it for a living. Because you're gonna see, it's gonna blow you away when you see how taking a sheet of paper and making a phone call can easily make you $20, $30, $40, $50,000 or more. But I promise you this, if you don't bring us any leads, you won't make a dime. All right, can we scroll it up a little? All right. Down here, how'd you arrive at your asking price? That's good to know. What reason for selling? That's good to know. Does it need repairs? That's kind of important to know. Okay. Most of the houses are going to be in excellent condition. They're not junkers. Most of them are not going to be in foreclosure because usually people who are in foreclosure just don't even advertise their house for sale for some reason. All right. Do I want to know if it's vacant or occupied? You bet. That's important. If it's vacant, I'm going to get paid quicker. I don't have to wait for the seller to move. When you want to move, I like it when they say ASAP. Then I know that they're ready to get out. And of course, we got to know if the house is listed or not. Make sure you check one of those, because if it's listed, we got to stop. And I'll explain why later, but we can't just go buy a house that's listed and not expect repercussions. Now, you do not fill out the square right here. That's what your mentor is going to fill out, or a mentor is going to fill out when they're making that call. My friends, right here is the whole gist of the call, is to get the answers to these questions to determine whether the seller will do terms or not, to determine whether you need to go see the house. And we got all the scripts, don't worry about that. You'll get them when you check in, but you don't even need them until you ask this question, and you're not asking that question at the summit. Our people are. So down here, I definitely want to know how many bedrooms and baths and square feet the house is, wouldn't you? And I want to know what it's made out of. You know, this line is not critical, but what the heck, you're this far. Ask them anyway. Now right here, this is important. Is it a house or a condo? Because if it's a condo or a townhouse, I need to know what the association fees are. You got to remember to ask them. And whether it's by the month or by the year. So we don't have to guess at that. Because that very easily could kill the deal right there. I've seen some really, really high association fees. So all I'm asking you to do is bring some of these to the convention, or let our VAs generate them for you, whichever is applicable to you. But if you don't bring them, we won't be calling them, and you won't get any deals. Right, ladies? Still awake?
Yep.
Okay, they're still awake down here. All right. So now let's talk about this submission process and make sure that it's clear. And this is where I ask them to help me, because boy, this one is even hard for me to remember. All right, so let's start with you're a client of ours and you have a VA. All right.
So the entire month of March, we are going to dedicate to calling leads for the summit. And even that last week is exclusively going to be summit leads that we're going to be setting appointments for you guys. We ask that you submit all the leads that you want us to set an appointment for you by March 16th. So that is going to be your deadline. We're going to set up to 5 appointments for you. So we're going to keep trying all of your leads that you sent to us until we get up to 5 appointments.
Mm-hmm. All right, stop. Now remember, this is if you're a client of ours and you have our VA, which means you have a whole team of VAs, not one. You've got VAs that do all kinds of other stuff other than just call sellers, which you'll find out if you're interested in knowing. So all these got to be in by March 16th, not March 17th, not March 28th, when you call in begging, I missed the deadline, can I submit some leads? That wouldn't happen, would it, Pam?
It never happens.
Never happens?
Not once.
At least on March 28th? Yeah, okay. You got to get them in here by the 16th. Now, that's if you're submitting them. Okay, let's be clear. You can send leads to your VA to call. Our VAs will continue calling your leads as business as usual. If you're a client, we're doing that anyway. We'll do that all the way up until we get you at least 5 points, or have done the best we can to get to, 5 appointments, not 5 points. Or done the best we can to get to that point, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to keep generating leads for you if you're a client, all the way up to the time that the convention starts. However, I gotta tell you, that last week of March is going to be devoted exclusively to getting these appointments for our customers. So if you're not coming to the summit, expect a dead week. That's all I can tell you. Right, Pam?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now,
so we will notify you at your check-in what your appointment time will be. So as you're coming in and getting registered at the summit, and you're checking in, we're going to say, oh, your appointment time is this. We want you in the deal room at that time.
so you don't need to worry about what happens after you arrive, because we'll make that very clear to you. But when you arrive on Monday night, because we start Tuesday at 9 a.m. Turn in all of your leads to whom? Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Okay.
Me.
Look at her, see? There she
Me.
is, right there. Here, let's move this thing out of the way.
Yes.
Okay, she'll be right there, don't worry, with her hand out, for leads. So, she's gonna pile them up, and then, if you've got the appointments already made, then, how will that be handled? They come in, will you notify them that they have appointments before they arrive?
Correct.
Okay, so you will give them a time when they arrive?
Mhm.
Okay, at that, she's got a job, I'll tell you that right now. Alright, so when you arrive, you'll get your appointment time, and let's say you have 3 appointments already set by you guys. Are we gonna try to set those so they can go in and knock them all out at one time?
Yes.
Alright, so that's good. And now, look, let's be reasonable here, because we're not gonna get all of them on the telephone, are we?
No.
Alright, so we can't get them to answer. In fact, as a whole, our entire VA floor, we can't get about half of them to pick up the phone after 3 tries.
That's true.
But now that's gonna depend on the quality of the lead to begin with, which I'm getting to here, because I want you guys to generate some of your own leads offline, preferably, because they're better quality than those leads online. More of those you generate, better results you're gonna get. But you still generate them and send them to our VAs, and we'll put them in the pile that we generate for you through the Gold Club. And also, I suggest that you do have your VA outsource leads. In other words, they'll go online and find them for you online that are not already in the group you're getting every day from our lead service that you're automatically available to you as a Gold Club member. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right, so as a Gold Club member, that's ronsgoldclub.com. You're gonna get them every day in your inbox. They can also find some that are not in your inbox. Between that's a pile of leads right there in 2 counties that you live in. But beyond that, I want you to go offline and get some of your own. Remind me to come back to that, girls, because I missed it on the sheets. I didn't answer it. Well, who do I call, right? All right, so you check in, you just turn in your leads, and don't worry about it. You'll get instructions from there. Is that fair? All right. Now, when your leads are called at the event, if they cannot be reached, you're going to text them on your cell phones. Make sure you bring a good cell phone, okay? And wait for the sellers to text you back, because I can tell you, half of your deals or more will come from that text to the seller. Everywhere we go, we do the same thing. And everywhere we go, about 20 to 40% of the people we text call back. And at that point, they're way more motivated. At least half of our deals are going to come from people who call us. So we're going to text them on their phone,
Yes.
and then we're going to tell them what to do when they get a text back when they get there, right?
So when you get the text back, you're gonna see Jasmine, and again, she's gonna give you another appointment time to sit.
Okay. All right. Your job gets bigger here,
It
Jasmine.
does.
Okay.
It's just growing.
Now, this is for clients.
Yes, and I just wanna point out where you send your leads to. So when you're submitting your leads,
If you're a client.
if you're a client, you're gonna send them to VAsupport@globalpublishinginc.com.
You zooming in on that?
I sure am.
VAsupport@globalpublishinginc.com.
So email those leads,
Mhm.
that's how we're gonna get your appointments.
And if you don't have a VA, ronsva.com. Can you remember that? ronsva.com, and you'll see all about it. It's $105 for 5 hours. It's $200 for 10 hours. You can get out anytime you want. It's a very, very flexible program. And remember, we charge you by the minute they work, not by the minute that they're in the chair. So for you to pay for an hour for a VA is probably about like having a $7 an hour employee. You're only paying for the time they're online or on the phone or doing any of the other tasks that you can have done as a VA client. And my friends, right here is the key, taking all the workload off of you. Your job is to make sure the leads get generated, most of which you don't do. You don't do the calling if you got a VA. And your job is just to make the closing call, which we're gonna help you with at the summit, and then make the appointments, 2 or 3 of those a month, and the next thing you know, you got a deal or 2 a month right there. All the rest is done for you, okay? Just let us help you, if you will. Very inexpensive price. All right, so let's go back over here. Now, first of all, talk about time frame. The biggest number of leads are gonna be generated and called the last 2 weeks of March, right? I don't want them too far out ahead of the event. Don't worry about them being 2 weeks old. that's not a problem. They're not gonna get sold in that last 2 weeks, okay? So, they're gonna focus the last 2 weeks on calling them until we can get all of you that submit them appointments, up to as many as 5, depending on how many leads we get from between you and the ones they generate for you, if you're a client, all right? Now, if you're not a client, it's gonna be entirely up to you to generate your own leads and call them and get that sheet filled out and bring them to the event. Do not send them to us, because we're not gonna call them if you're not a client. And of course, you can become a client by visiting that site and talking to us. Very easy, very quickly. Next thing you know, you're a client, so you go in this group, all right? But if you're not a client, and you're not gonna become a client until I badger you into it, then here's what we gotta do. You have gotta go generate leads on your own, and you gotta call them to fill out the property information sheet like I just discussed. And then while you're on the phone, you gotta ask them the 3 questions in the box, and we'll supply them with a script for that. But actually, it's on your
The
well.
PI sheet is really your script. That's really what you're
Yeah.
gonna use.
Yeah, but I'm talking about to get the. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused here. It's the age combined with the drugs. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're still not filling out the box. Okay, you're just filling out the property information sheet. Let us fill out the box for you. So, all right, back to normal. So all you gotta do is call them and get the sheets filled out and bring them to class. So, don't bring more than 20, because there's no sense of you bringing in a pile like that. We're just not gonna get to them, period. That's simple. But if you bring up to 20, and we're probably not even gonna call 20, but we'll get you some help when you get there to maybe pick out the best 10 for them to call if you bring more than 20. Look, the more leads you bring, the better chances you got. And do not try to guess who's gonna be a deal and who's not. You cannot look at that sheet and tell. You'll be surprised how many no's we turn into yeses. So bring us no's and bring us yeses. Bring us whatever you got and let us do our thing. All right.
So our VAs will, if you turn them in at the time that you check in, our VAs will do our best to set an appointment time for you. We'll spend that first day setting the appointment time for you. And we will text you what your appointment time is.
Okay, now that does not mean that our people are gonna call and fill out your sheets for you. Let's
Correct.
be clear. Okay, you gotta bring the sheets filled out or we will not call them. Please understand what I just said. And by the way, filling out does not mean a phone number and a name and an address for a seller. It means getting that sheet filled out. We are not gonna do that for you. Sorry, we got too many of these things to process. All right, if you can't fill that sheet out, then get to this convention and let's overcome whatever fear is keeping you from filling that sheet out. And by the way, we're gonna have classes there on fear, and we're gonna have other classes on making that closing call on the first day, a whole 3-hour class on it, all right? So they bring them in, up to 20, and then actually, I'm gonna you number the 10 that you think ought to be called first. So give us those 10 first, and then we'll work on the other 10 when we get caught up for the whole group, and we'll come back and keep going. Our guys, we have 12 mentors calling. How many? 12 mentors calling for you, so we can make an awful lot of calls. All right, so they bring them in, and you're going to set the appointment for what? To call the 10 and try to reach them.
Right, so
Okay.
for your appointment time, for you to come into the deal room and sit with a mentor and call that lead together. So that would be your closing call.
All right, at the same time, at least half of them aren't gonna answer. So then you're gonna text, and then you're gonna wait for the text to come back, and then you're gonna get it to who?
You're gonna respond to that text and tell them, are you available within this window? And you're gonna use that appointment
By
time
text, okay?
as your window.
So then when they text you back, we've set the appointment in a time frame, and then, well, you'll know before we know. All right, okay.
And so you'll bring that lead with you to your appointment to sit with the mentor and call.
Okay, now, wasn't all that simple? Okay, I get it. Watch it 2 or 3 times. I didn't get it all myself, and I said most of it. So watch it 2 or 3 times, and again, we're putting it in writing so you can see the process. The key thing is you get these leads, call, let us do it or you do it, and bring a pile of them. All right, let's go back over here. Again, you need a VA, just go to ronsva.com, and if you haven't registered with the summit yet, holy moly, what are you waiting on? I know you've been hit with it at least 10, 12, 15 times, And incidentally, that's not over, because we're gonna bug you till you sign up. You might as well just go ahead and sign up. Now, why wouldn't you wanna be in Vegas anyway for this magnificent event? And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what the event's all about. It's res2020.com, and you'll see it's a great event. res2020.com. What's it? I don't know. As we tape this, it's about $500 a person, $200 a guest, something like that. It's gonna go up every month, or not every month. Well, yeah, every month. Okay, between now and then. All right, so come on, join us. It's a bad business decision if you don't join us. In fact, I can make the case. Bring us some leads to work with. Let us do our job. Sleep through the whole thing if you want to. Let us make you money while you're sitting there. And incidentally, all of the sellers that we get on the phone that we turn into deals, I'm going to discuss on stage in 5 different deal structuring sessions, and I hope one of them is yours. When you leave, you're going to leave with a contract ready to submit and get signed, and an appointment with the seller. Okay, this isn't a game. We're not playing here. We're creating a lot of money for you if you bring me leads. Now, you have a choice on a mentor. You might be watching. If you have a mentor, that's good, because let's think of this now. You bring leads to class. We get you a deal or two. We have to set an appointment that next week. If you've already got a mentor, first of all, they're right there. You can go over the deal with them, and they can be available for you to be on the phone when you go into the house for the appointment. That's very important, and probably the maker or the breaker of getting that deal or losing it in your beginning stages. If you don't have a mentor when you come, that means you can get them there, and we have to appoint you one, but we can't appoint you a mentor and get you set up when your appointment is 2 days after the event. So you're going to be on your own if you don't have a mentor before you come. So if you want to explore that, go to or call this number, 800-567-6128, 800-567-6128, and they'll tell you all about it, give you several ways to pay for it, several ways to finance it. It's a 6-month one-on-one mentorship where these folks guide you through the deals, and they're side by side with you. And again, we'll be on the phone with you, with the seller. In fact, they'll even set the appointment for you if you ask them to, and make the seller know that you're just the boots on the ground and you're not all that smart, and that they're your partner. So now when you get there, you hand them, you have a phone, and you have your mentor on the phone, so if the seller has any questions, they can ask them right then and there. That takes a lot of pressure off of you, doesn't it? You really don't have to know anything, because you're resorting to the higher authority. So it's a huge decision on your part. If you're going to bring leads, strongly suggest you get a mentor before you arrive. All right? And what better place to look? If you get a mentor and you come and you want to change one, here's all 12 of them right there. You can interview them, and we'll let you change on the spot. Won't we, Pam? Because I just now made that up.
Yeah, there you
all
go.
Right, so make that note, will you? All right. So that's the process. Let me see what else I got here. Anything else? Or did we cover all of
I think
this?
we covered
Oh, no, we
everything
didn't.
else.
We got to tell them where to get the leads.
Okay.
All right. So here you go. Write this down. Number 1, do you have for sale by owner signs where you live? The answer, of course, is yes. Perhaps you should take a little time riding around and finding those. Take a picture of them, send them to your VA, or take a picture of them, go home and call them, fill out property information sheet. Your choice. They're all over the place. Maybe even get off your beaten path and find a handful of those, because they're good leads, incidentally. Number 2, there's a million websites you can go on and look where people post their house for sale. By the way, Zillow, in my experience, is the best by far to find these deals. Now, if you're a member of the Gold Club, okay, we got them coming to you every day, but for some reason, they don't all come through you. We have a scouring service that scours 1,700 websites a day, and it just amazes me why they don't pick them all up in the 2 counties that you choose as a Gold Club member, but they don't. So if I would ask our VAs to source them, so they go and look them up and find some that we missed probably. All right, next, do anything and everything you can do to get sellers to call you, because they are by far the best quality leads. Run ads everywhere you can run ads. Of course, if you had our VA, we'd run them for you, wouldn't we?
Yes, we will.
All right, but if you don't have our VA, and I understand it if you don't. Some people say, I just can't afford one right now. All right, I get it. Hey, when I started, I couldn't afford anything. I mean, when I started in 1982, I had to buy groceries twice a week. I couldn't afford to buy a whole weeks at a time. I get it. So let's get you through your first deal, but that means you've got to do the work if you don't want to buy a mentor. So you got to put the ads online yourself. not sophisticated, just I buy houses, and if I were you, I wouldn't put anything in it but a phone number and an email address, and just let them come to you in the beginning. I'm gonna change that, because we gotta get you automated, but to get yourself a bunch of leads in the beginning, when they call you, or they text you, whatever, in fact, that's a good idea, but you might be telling your folks, if you're gonna run ads, put a text number in there, because a lot of people would rather text. Put an email address in there, yours, and put your phone number in there in the beginning. When you get into the business, I want you to have a 24-hour answering service called Pat Live. Let them call them, and then they get the information to you. But for now, put your own phone number in there. Put your own email, and put your own text. And I'll bet you at least half of them will text you, okay? So anything you're doing to get people to call you, put your text number in there. Now when they text you, you just text them back, when's a good time we can talk. And if you're doing this for the summit, go ahead and get them on the phone and tell them I'm meeting my partner in the next, whatever days they are. What is it anyway? April 1st.
Through the
Actually, we'll start calling on the 1st, right?
Yeah.
Or the 31st.
The 31st.
The 31st. So I'm going to be meeting my partner during this time frame, and what would be a good time during this time frame for us to get a hold of you and get all the details that he needs to know or she needs to know, and see if we can't work it out. And then you literally have made the appointment for us, and we'll plug you in, right, Jasmine?
Yeah,
all right.
We will.
But either way, just tell them, if you can't get an appointment, just tell them, okay, well, I'll be getting back to you during that time frame when we're there with my partner present, even if you don't get an appointment. All right. So run ads; they're free. And if I were you, and if you're up to it, I'm telling you, most of my successful students are running Facebook ads right now and doing very well with it. Incidentally, on day one, on Tuesday, I'm going to have a whole half-day session taught by a Facebook expert, a couple of them. You're going to love that session, because that's really generating quality leads online. And I got a guy coming that'll actually do that for you if you want. So you can find leads if you want to take time to look for them. Look in any publication. Don't forget the newspaper. You know, there's actually people that get the newspaper. You know it still exists. Well, it does. And some of us old guys and gals read it, just so you'll know. Also, go on the website you spend all your time on anyway. Think about Facebook. Think about Instagram. Think about Nextdoor. Think about all the apps you're currently using that you can put on there that you actually buy houses. Just use your head. You know, I'll show you all kinds of ways to buy houses when you get there, but that's enough to keep you busy for right now. Come on, you only need to generate a handful of leads, for crying out loud. How hard is that going to be, even without our VAs doing it for you? But I strongly suggest you get these ladies on your team, because frankly, they'll take all the load off of you. We spent a lot of years building these systems, and I hope you take part in them. All right, ladies, did I miss anything?
I think you got it all.
All right.
If you don't have a VA and you want to sign up for VA, it's ronsva.com. If you have a VA and you want to send in your leads, send them to vaSupport@globalpublishinginc.com.
But, well, you send them there all the time, right?
Yes.
Okay, but remember, the 16th of March is your deadline for us to work the summit. It's not your deadline. We'll call leads for you, but if you want us to work them for the summit, we have to cut it off, and it's March 16th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Correct.
All right, so I'm out of breath, but Jasmine is going to come up with something brilliant before we close, right?
I am.
We're super excited
So
about the
excited.
summit. We can't wait for you guys to join us, and we're just looking forward to a wonderful event.
And by the way, we're going to keep you busy. Don't make any plans to go into any shows while we're doing this event. That would be Tuesday night. We're going to have a recession for you with some hors d'oeuvres, I think, a networking party. And then Wednesday through Friday, we're going in late into the evening. Saturday, we'll be through at 5 o'clock. And just so you'll know, Barry Manilow is playing at the hotel. Saturday might be a good time. I shouldn't be telling you this. I got to make sure we get tickets first. All right. And it's in Las Vegas, baby, for crying out loud. What better place to be? And by the way, if you got a skeptical spouse or friend, bring them. I'll convert them for you. Trust me, when it's over, they're going to be kicking you in the butt to get out there and get some deals done. All right. Well, with that said, what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas. I'll see you soon at the summit.